Hello and welcome to another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. I'm Wayne Highlander with Bona Adhesives.
I'm Rob Johnson with the Bona Training. Good afternoon, Wayne.
Yes, sir. Good to see you there, Rob. Looking all spiffy in your Bona shirt there, collared
Yeah,
shirt.
this is I just got off the plane, so I
Hmm.
like to dress nice for the ladies on the plane.
Well, yes, you should. Yeah, as they all
Yeah.
pass you while you're in. Well,
Eh,
actually, do they even see you at the back of the plane there by the
Uh,
toilet?
I told you I wore first class. I was in first
Oh,
class, man.
oh,
Okay.
okay. All right. Good
I
for
was
you.
first class. Yeah,
All right.
I got a little status.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to dress nice on the plane. Yeah,
Hmm.
you see people sometimes they dress like hobos.
Yeah. You
Can I
don't
say
need it.
hobos anymore? Can't
I
I
think.
probably can't say
I
that.
think. I think you can.
But I like the people who show up in their pajamas and sandals,
I know.
laying on the floor. Imagine laying on
Yeah.
the floor at an airport.
Oh my gosh. Well, I've done it
Yeah.
before. Yeah, when you plane delays and everything, when you just absolutely have to spend the night there. Well, we've all had to do that.
Stay in the chair. Don't lay on the
Yeah,
floor. Man,
yeah,
people walking in and out of the bathrooms and
yeah.
yeah, not a good place.
One thing you don't have to do anymore since the old depends thing, huh?
Oh, no, no, no. We're not going to keep that.
No, 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 no. We're
We're
not. We're
we're
not.
not
It's
going to keep that
no. It's
going,
not. It's
okay?
not. No.
That you get one. That's
You're
it.
right.
We're
You're
done,
100%
okay?
right. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. You never
Yeah,
hear the word.
I've had some people. Okay, I've
Yeah.
had calls.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I have too.
Yep.
You'll never hear the word depends out of my mouth again.
All
Okay.
right. Good.
You can
Yep.
depend on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is not going to be an ongoing
No,
gig.
no,
Okay.
I get it.
It really isn't.
No, I know. I know.
But you're
What?
dying for it, though. I
No,
know it. Yeah.
I am not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
You remember you begged me to do that story.
I did. You took one for the team. And I
Yeah.
will continue to say that that just shows you how committed that shows you what kind of man you are. You're committed to your job.
All right.
Anybody else
Don't even
out,
go
out
there.
of out of 100 people, 95 of them would have said, "I just can't do it. I can't show up today. I can't do it." But you did it, man. You troopered through. So
Hmm.
says a lot about your character.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, listen, we're going to do a podcast today about slow paying customers and a little bit of a sad story here. The reason why that this came about, or that I started thinking about this, I'll just tell you a personal story that just happened to me, and then we'll move on from there. But and it kind of relates to this. I bought a bass boat from a dealership not long ago. Okay, so one didn't buy it off of didn't buy it off of off the you know an individual. I bought it off a legit dealership. We've been in business for many years. And then the guy owed me $2,500. Okay, he owed me $2,500. Long story, but I bought a new trolling motor off an old boat. It was brand new. Blah blah blah. He said, I'll just pay you for it." Whatever. $2,500. Okay. So he owed me that for about 4 months now. And part of that is my problem. I procrastinated. I'm not in town, whatever. And folks, finally, I called the guy up and I said, "Hey, listen, let's get this resolved. I mean, it's $2,500, and he'll know, Wayne, you're right. You're right. I owe it to you. Uh, Come by and pick it up Thursday. Okay. Okay. Uh, on Tuesday, he killed himself. Okay. So he committed suicide. So awful, awful.
I can tell you're all broken up about it.
No, no, I really truly am. It's very sad. No,
I guess
really.
it's the nervous giggling that's throwing me off.
No, I'm looking at your face, and you had a smile on your face. So anyhow, it is very sad. But it made me think about when people owe you money, what could go wrong? And once the job is done and they have your services completed, their emergency is gone now. You know what I mean? And maybe if they have other emergencies coming down the pike, you're not a priority anymore. The floor's done. I've got electrical that needs to be done, or I have other things that needs to be done, or what have you. And so, you know, So what I'm getting at is so many things can happen. Well, this guy been in business for years, and this happened. Had I been paid, right away, or if I, whatever, I would have been paid. Now, in a scheme of life and things, I'm never going to see my $2,500. But you know what? It kind of puts things in perspective. What it is, what it is. I'm not going to worry about it. I feel bad
Well,
for
they're
his
going to
family.
have a funeral for this guy, right?
Yeah, but I'm not going to.
He's got family and kids, right? Or wife and kids.
From what I heard, he's like $3 million in debt. So what am I? Where am I going to? In that pecking order?
Well, that's why you got to get to the funeral first,
No, no, no,
and
no, no.
go through the condolence line,
Hmm.
and then just give him, here's a self-addressed stamped envelope. Can you just
Yeah, just
put the
put it in
check
there,
in,
and
and I took care of the postage.
at your own convenience.
Yeah,
Yeah. No.
maybe not today, but tomorrow after the services,
Hmm. If you could
you know, hit him
find
up
your,
at the wake. You,
there you
you know what I
go.
mean?
Yeah.
People chat people up at the wake. You're okay.
Hmm. Yeah. Just put it in their pocket.
Yeah. Or wait a minute. They're going to be out of the house.
Yeah.
They're going to be at the services.
Oh, so while everybody's at the service,
Yeah, just
the
run over
house,
and take $2,500 worth of stuff.
where the stuff. All right.
Yeah.
Let me Google his address.
There you go. You see?
Uh, yeah. No, but I mean, that's what it tells you. I mean, anything can happen in the meantime. So the deal is slow paying customers. What happens to your business? What's the impact on your business? One is you never know what could happen. I mean, we've had people's houses burned down. We've had people go bankrupt. We've had people leave the country. There's all kinds of different things that can happen. Number one. Number two, and I will say this is probably the worst, and I think every floor person can relate to this, is that the psychological damage of not getting paid on time. We've all probably been there before, especially in old days. I know things are done electronically now. With all different ways you can pay through cash apps and all this stuff. But um, you ever have a big check you're expecting, Rob? Well, probably not for you, but let's say any kind of check from a customer, and you come home and you check the mailbox. It's not there. It's Monday. They said they're already a week late. You come home Tuesday. You're driving home from work, and you think, even if you don't really need the money, you want to see that check in your hand. You come back, you check the mailbox again. It's not there. Well, maybe Wednesday. Maybe it's going to be here. Surely it's going to be here by Wednesday. And you come home and it's not there again. And you jumped through all the hoops that was asked of you. You showed up on time. You did the job. They thanked you for their nice job and this, that, and the other. You completed your obligation. Where's the check? So slow paying customers, I think one of the biggest damages they can do is just the psychological damage of waiting and waiting, and that's just one of the many things that can happen.
When you said you wanted to do this show, I thought, man, I've only had one. I was only really burned one time.
Hmm. Me too.
And then as I started writing it out, no, I've been burned like 6 times. I just never remembered
Hmm.
until I started writing it down. Then I went, oh my God, this and this and this. And that's when we really started changing the way we were charging people.
Yeah.
I was just way too much of a
Hmm.
shake my hand and we are good type of thing, you know? I remember the first time reading through your contract going, oh, I would have been, I wouldn't have lost anything if I had had the,
Hmm.
the Highlander contract. I hate to keep patting you on the back for that one, but
Well, that's why
that
we
is,
came up with the contract. And we'll talk about solutions in a bit. But when I think one of the okay, say they're slow paying. Okay, one, you got to pay your guys, you got to blah 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 blah, but also your relationship with your distributor. Now that relationship is very important. That's a that's a business partnership, right? You depend
yeah.
on them, they depend on you. I can tell you in my career now, and we all work with distributors all the time. anybody says, "Oh, I wish I'd like to be a distributor," whatever. Being a distributor is a very hard business to be in. Distributors play a super important role in our industry. Uh, they're so important to manufacturers, and they're also important to contractors. They are the last mile, right, of getting the product to you or to your door. So they play a very, very, very important role in this industry. It's a tough, tough, tough job to be a distributor. I mean, they get hit from all kinds of different directions. So let's go look back at the pandemic when manufacturers couldn't get products to the distributor. Well, the distributors are the front line. You know, they're the first ones that hear it from the customers. They're facing the customer every day. So, and your relationship with the distributor is very important. I mean, they need to get paid on time. You know what I mean? So, and it could affect your relationship with them. And I can tell you, man, I have gotten so many jobs through distributors, and I've been helped out by so many distributors. Uh, that I've come to realize how important that relationship is. I wasn't ever taught that when I was young in this business. I just kind of got learnt, as they say. Over time, you start putting pieces together and go, wow, this guy can help me. Or, wow, he doesn't, I don't deserve his help. Or, wow, why should he help me? You know what I mean? And they can be your advocate and they can be very helpful for you. So that's an important relationship, and that's the first thing I think of when I don't get paid on time, and if I don't, I've got, let's say I've got $60,000 out there, $80,000 floating out there, jobs completed and done that I don't have it in my hand, that should be paying my distributor, paying my different bills and what have you. So that's the first thing I think of. I don't even think of myself so much when I'm not getting paid. Is what about everybody else that relies on me, and that's a big one.
You know, all our lives, everybody's like, we need to cut the middleman out, right?
Hmm.
I mean, you've heard that all your life. Cut the middleman out.
Hmm.
And, growing up, being young in business and everything, yeah, I should, if I could buy direct, I'd save so much more money. The middleman, you got to cut that middleman out. Well, now as I get older and seeing behind the curtain,
Hmm.
thank God for the middleman.
Hmm.
Thank God for the distributor, the middle, not the little man, the middleman.
Hmm.
Because I'll tell you a story on how the middleman, our distributor, really saved us. I mean, saved us from ruin. We got a call from a huge builder. Now, Pete and I were probably 2 years out of my dad, right? And we started our own thing. And we were big with water base because we were doing tons of water base in the bowling alley. So, the distributor wasn't even really messing around with water base, but I said, geez, I kind of like this, product. And he started to bring it in. And, I'm not saying that it wasn't for Pete and I, there'd be no water base in the Albany area, but we were, we were used to working with it. So we liked it and what have you. So for the first 2 years, all of a sudden, people are taking notice because we're in the phone book. I know it sounds crazy to say, but we're in the phone book and people's like, who's this fourth generation? And nobody's ever heard of us, right? So we started talking with the distributor, and so we're getting known. People are starting to know us. Oh, they're the bowling alley guys, and they're doing this, blah blah blah. Well, we get a call from this huge builder, huge, but the biggest builder in Albany, and he's building like row mansions, right? And one day I get a call from this guy, and he's like, "Hey, we'd really like to talk to you."
Was he looking for my number?
No, nobody
Okay.
knew about you. You're California Wayne. This
Okay.
is
So,
this
sorry.
is the other side of the world, man.
Okay.
So we get a call from this guy, and he goes, "I want to meet you. We've heard about you. Blah blah blah." And we are not floor of the year guys. You know what I mean? We're per, I've said this a million times. sport floors, commercial floors, bowling. We're production guys. And this guy's building row mansions. Seriously, huge, huge projects, one after another. And he's like, "Hey, I heard of you guys, and I like to buy. I've seen some of your work." And I'm like, "Oh, that's nice." I'm in my 20s, right? And I'm pretty naive at the time. And we're going through the house and this and that, and he's like, "We'd really like you to take over our work." Now I'm thinking, "Oh, this is a big step, right?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Finally, they see the freaking talent. And
Right.
I'm thinking we're gonna have to hire 6 guys. Easily 6 guys to keep up with this. So all right, I'm definitely interested. Talk to
Mm-hmm.
Pete, and I said, I think we're gonna have to do this. And he's like, yeah, if you think it's right. I go, yeah, I feel this is right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Have a meeting with him 2 days later. Now this is how we want to get paid. Okay. We deliver the wood, I get paid. We get done installing, I get another chunk. We get done sanding, that's when we get the final chunk.
Yeah.
Okay. And the guy looks at me and he's kind of nodding his head no. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, here's how we do it with I won't say whatever group.
Yeah.
They were the group.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, we'll get in touch with a couple of distributors. We'll set you up with a line of credit. And he goes, then you'll start to get paid after the second or third house. And that's how we do it. And I'm almost like, see you later.
Yeah.
Right? I can't do that. Because I'm thinking, no, no, no. I need a check next week.
Yeah.
Personally, I need to get a paycheck next week. We're
Mm-hmm.
new. You know what I mean? So he's it just all of a sudden now nothing felt right. It was just a 100%. And he's like, yeah, we'll set you up with a line of credit and you can use it for your other jobs and da da da. And I'm like, doesn't feel right. I knew the guy at the distributor that we
Mm-hmm.
were going through. So I went over and I talked to him and I go, why do you think all of a sudden, I'm telling him the whole
Yeah.
story,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He's shaking his head the whole time I'm telling the story. He's shaking his head no.
Yeah.
I said, who was doing the work before? Were they that bad? He goes, no, they were great, but they owe me bluckety block.
Wow.
We were like the fourth
Yeah.
company.
Yeah.
And that distributor, he didn't have to tell me that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Right. He can
He's
let you
not,
bury yourself.
he could have, right? Because the other guys were into him for money, but he had a soul, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
This, this builder didn't, right? They didn't,
Mm-hmm.
but that distributor went out of his way to say, just keep doing what you and Pete are doing. Don't.
Yeah.
He goes, you're doing fine. You're not into us for anything. He said, these guys are into us. He goes, I don't know what they're going to do.
Wow.
But that distributor, so when I say a distributor can save your life, that distributor can save your life. Now, you want to hear, I got to tell you just a little bit more of this story.
Okay.
Now, anybody in the Albany area who's been around for a while will probably remember this,
Okay.
but it never made the news. So this group was just massive builders in the area, by far the largest. But they had tons and tons of TV commercials
Okay.
of their houses and their projects in their neighborhoods. It got so bad that plumbers, electricians, roofers, concrete floors, concrete guy, everybody. They
Wow.
were one weekend were having parades at some of these neighborhoods of like pay us our money. We didn't.
Oh man.
They had freaking parades, and I'm not talking about parades with 9 or 10. It was like 50 and 60 people in these parades
Wow.
with signs. We're not getting our money. They owe us money.
Are you
Pay
kidding
now.
me?
No, here's the sad part. It wasn't covered by anybody. The
Oh,
news,
wow.
newspapers, nobody covered it. Why? Because they were advertising in the newspapers, full
Yeah.
page ads in the newspapers, TV commercials, and nobody
Wow.
covered the parade. A couple of small papers had little blurbs, but everybody knew, but
Yeah.
it wasn't being covered in the
Wow.
media because the
Wow.
media was making so much money off of these guys.
That's scary.
But that
Yeah.
distributor, I go when it's funny you said how good a distributor can be.
Well, it's funny. Sometimes you talk about people say, "Oh, I want to go direct, or I want to be a distributor." They don't know how you go look at the inventory of of a distributor, how many products they have to carry, and even logistically, how much help they are. And I mean, obviously, if you had to say, okay, I want to buy, I want to get this kind of pricing, well, you would, first of all, between freight and what you would have to pay for it to get it that way. Uh, I mean, like I said, the knowledge of the distributors and training. I've gone to distributors; they do a great job training and that kind of stuff. They are just such a vital role. Deliveries, payments. It's the industry would be sunk without them. So,
How many times did you call a distributor in your life on a Friday when you know he's going to be closed?
hmm
Hey, can you throw a couple buckets behind the dumpster? And it's
hundred
always like,
percent.
no problem. Hey, I need a, a maple baby threshold and I can't
Yeah,
pick it up. Can you put it put it on the back dock and I'll pick it up and stop by on Monday.
so many times.
I mean, just
Yeah,
amazing what distributors,
and
what they do for us.
I know firsthand working at a distributor behind the counter, and you did too at the pro shop, how hard that job is. That's why I always say they're like the unsung heroes in our business. If you have a distributor guy that you work with, thank them once in a while, show your appreciation to them. They got a hard job, and we don't think about them because we're getting our wood and our material. We got a job to get to and whatever. But you think about that guy behind that counter, man. They're so important to us. So anyhow, we got off track on that, but that's the first thing I think of is that I got to pay my distributor on time. That relationship's got to stay strong. But it also you know, it causes you cash flow issues in general. I mean, a lot of guys, their wife works also. And thank God my wife did because there have been times when I've had so much money out. You talked about my contract that I like, wait, I stop. We got to do something different because I tell them it's due upon the completion of the job, this portion of it. And for some reason, the homeowner, that's the only day they're not home. The check's upstairs and the floor's wet. Oh gosh, I guess I can't get to my checkbook. It's upstairs. We'll mail it to you. All those different things. I think guys are a little more savvy now. Um, and here's the way I think about it too. And as a young guy, I used to feel guilty, like apologizing for asking for the money.
Yes.
You
What?
know,
How insane is that for you new guys?
you
Yeah, you young guys.
go to a doctor and have something done. They go, well, your portion is $75 before we do anything. So like, they want that money now. Any other business in America, when it comes time to get that money, they want that money now. You ain't moving forward until they get that money. And these people got a lot more than me and you do. You know what I mean? And they have no problem asking for it.
What is wrong with us?
I don't know, but
Because
it's
I remember, yeah, I would feel bad. Like,
yeah, apologizing that I'm asking for the
yeah,
money that I
geez, I'm
just been
sorry, but can
on my
yeah.
hands and knees busting my butt for the last 2 weeks on the job like an idiot.
That
Yeah, I
yeah,
should.
we
Yeah,
we need freaking help on that one. That we should have seen. We needed therapy.
yes.
Why would you feel bad about that?
Yeah, I
Because
don't. You know,
I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that, and that's exactly how I used to feel.
I think a lot of guys are this way, and I think a lot of guys in this industry are just good, honest, hardworking people. They just, I was looking the other day. I was watching some guy talking about he just he just completed a job for a lady. Now the job's done, right? So they had already talked about the price and everything well ahead of time. Job's done, and he says, "I'll come and pick up my check." And she goes, "Well, can you send me an itemized breakdown of your bill?" No, that's not the time to ask. You know what I mean? The job is done. Why are
What do
you,
you need that for?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's, yeah.
yeah.
Or,
You've already paid for my candy. I'm
yeah.
not. Yeah,
Or you'll hear people say that we did a repair for someone. We come in and had put in two boards, blend it in, stain it and everything, match it. It was $450. It took us an hour and a half. And they're like, wow, an hour and a half. Really? For that? I mean, yeah, for that. I mean, first
yeah.
of all, and then when they want to itemize breakdown, okay, do you want my workers' comp insurance? You want my insurance, the car insurance? You want the wear and tear on the vehicles that we have to deduct every year, all these other things? I mean, what does that number mean to you? You don't know what my overhead costs are and all these other things. So yeah, and I think as you've gotten older as we have, you have less tolerance for it because you know what the guys are going through, and you've kind of lived that. And as you get older, you kind of realize, hey, this was totally unreasonable all the way around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
It's hard to do this job, and it takes a lot of toll on you and what have you. Um, so hey, you need to get paid. And here's the other thing too: you got to pay for the wear and tear on your body that you're going to feel when you get 65 and 70 years old. Because if you talk to any older floor guy, you can't put a price on your health, right? On all the pains that you're going to feel. Uh, so that's when we talk about slow paying people. Here's the other thing. There's been times where, you know what, I got this huge job coming up, and I put another sander on the job, and there's a sander sitting at the distributor that had my eye on for a long time, and this makes sense to buy it now because we've got so much going on. Blah blah blah. And this guy's up now. He can we can promote him to running the sander. Also set up another crew, but I've got $65,000 sitting out there. You know what I mean? Job's done and completed. And so rather than put the new sander on this job, well, I don't have the money yet. You know what I mean? And I had a rule about buying equipment. I wanted to pay for it now. So, so there that it inhibits growth for your business. All these things are bad, but the main thing to me is the psychological stress of it. And also just the knowing somehow it hurts your soul to know that I did this job. I ran through everything you wanted me to do. I jumped through all the hoops and I'm having to wait on my money. That's not good for you. You know
yeah.
what I mean? So,
And I think what people don't get who are holding that money, the people who owe us that money, a lot of them don't have their own business. You know what I mean? They
yeah,
get a check every single week
yeah,
or every other week. They get a check from their job. That's how it works, right?
yeah,
Just like how it works for you and I at Bona. Every
yeah,
other week, we're
yeah,
good,
yeah,
right? And I don't think a lot of our customers realize that, they just think they're slow paying a business.
yeah,
And a lot of us, especially when we had started, no, it's personal.
yeah,
You're slow paying my family.
yes, yeah,
You're not
yes,
slow paying. You're not slow paying RJ Associates.
yes.
You're slow paying Pete and Rob
And the kids.
and the kids.
Yeah.
You know, and after we got slow paid and burned a couple of times
Hmm.
because it was you didn't just burn me, you burned my wife and kids.
Yeah.
That's when we started to really make some drastic changes in the way we were doing business. And I felt same thing. I
Hmm.
felt kind of crappy about, you gotta kind of
Yeah.
sign this, and I need a down payment, and
Hmm.
but you know what? once I started pulling down payments and having people sign contracts and everything, yeah, that kind of went away a little bit. Now it
Yeah.
got to the, like this
Yeah.
is a this is a more serious way to do business rather
Yeah.
than shake my hand and we're good to go and we're all
Yeah.
buddies. Because
Hmm. Well, here's where this hit me that always sticks in my head. One of my distributors was having an open house, and when I went to the open house, I didn't go there necessarily to open house. I went there to get a hamburger. It was free. You know how this goes.
yeah, yeah, I get it.
So, so but when I was there, they handed me a list of all the deals that were going on that day. If I bought X amount of finish, it was 20% off or 15% off or whatever it was, or distributor took some off and they took some off and there was a deal on that. If I bought this product, there was a deal on sandpaper. I could reduce the cost by X amount. And I'm thinking, I can't take advantage of this because I'm 60 grand sitting out there that's already been the work's been done and it's not in my pocket right now. So you're stop not only is there a cost of that money I don't have right now, the psychological cost and all everything else, but I can't take advantage of these deals now because you're holding my money. So you've cost me money going into the next jobs. And I really had to sit down and go, we got to change this, man. I gotta figure out a different way. And then that's when we held firm on getting the down payments, the deposits to hold the jobs, the down payment. When I get my material, I want my money now, marking up the material even more, and the proper way to mark up material, and because I was losing money on what I thought I was marking up the material, I wasn't marking up enough. So um, all that, I'm telling you, you will walk with a lighter step after you get that done. You know what I mean? You will just feel better about yourself. I mean, because it's almost a self-worth thing. You know what I mean? That, hey, I freaking deserve this, man. And then when you take the steps to implement these things, then I think it goes a long way for your business health and your mental health.
And the other thing one of the reasons that we really started getting down payments was all of a sudden we'd be like going to do a job and we're not ready for you yet. Well, what are you talking about? You're not ready for me.
Hmm.
This is, you know, I had a week here.
Yeah, we scheduled you.
Yeah, you're in. So, we weren't just getting material down payments. We were getting like half of the job down payments
Hmm.
for installs and stuff. And to me, it was always you just bought that week. That's what
Yeah,
this down payment is
yeah.
you paying me for that week. And now if you screw me on that week, okay, I'm going to cut and run and try to find some other things to do. But now you're gonna be on my timeline now because
Okay.
you already paid for your week. I'll get you in, but
Yeah.
you know when I can get you in now because you bought your week and screwed yourself.
Okay. So consider this. Let's say there's going to be an issue and there's a scheduling change on their part, right? And let's say the painter says if we have to reschedule, it's a 20% rescheduling, blah blah blah, and the floor guy just says nothing has nothing about that. Who are you going to move? The guy that I go, oh, if I move him around, I got to pay a 20%, but the floor guy just nothing in there about that. I'll just tell him I got to move him. Who are you going to
Wait a
move?
minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Back up. What did you just say?
Let's say
A
there's a
20% people are doing that?
I'm just throwing numbers out there. I don't know.
No,
But
I mean that's a thing. I'm
yeah,
serious.
yeah, it is a thing. Yes. If I got to
Oh,
reschedule, then here's the deal. There's I call it a penalty, but it's a rescheduling fee because you got to move all these guys around. You got to do this, that, and the other. So, and even if you don't charge them for it, it's there. You know, what I mean, you can always take it away. But like I said, if someone's got to move, who are you going to move if you're the homeowner? The guy that's going to cost me money if I change this schedule, or the guy that's like, well, I'll just make a phone call and tell him I'm putting them off. So
oh, okay. That's why you have a show right there. Was that in your contract?
No, towards the end, I don't. No, I don't think it was, Rob. I don't think it was. We,
I'll tell you who's gonna love that. Bum's gonna love that.
yeah,
You know what? That is everybody should do that
yeah, yeah.
because it's like you said, you could give it back to the guy, or he's gonna look, who do I move? The guy who has a rescheduling fee or who doesn't?
That's the main reason to do it. Is who you going to move? Because I don't feel like the chump. Somebody's going to get burned. It ain't going to be me. You know what I mean? So that's the reason for that. I think.
That's a nugget. You get 2 bells for that one.
Yeah,
Put a rescheduling fee in your contract just
yeah.
to,
Just so. And if
and
some,
I don't mean another way to make money, but
yeah, it's
it's
not.
another way to keep your schedule good.
If somebody calls you on it, wow, the rescheduling fee, and I'll say, you know why we do that? Because our schedules are so important to us. If you call us to be at a certain time, we want to be there. And if people jockey our schedule around, it kind of would like domino effect on our next customers. So it allows us to keep our place and make sure that people don't move us around. Easy explanation. We
It's
can
a
always waive it if
negotiation
you,
tactic.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Man, oh man, I don't know why people call you dumb.
I don't either.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Thank you. Um. So how to avoid these type of things?
I
One
want
is
to do a whole show on rescheduling fees now.
we could do that.
If anybody listening to the show does rescheduling, please shoot us an email or a text.
Well, here's the thing too. I don't know about where you live, but if you have a doctor's appointment here and you cancel, let's say because I did this recently, and this is we're in October, end of October. Yes, we can fit you in again, Wayne, in January. January, right?
Yeah.
So you know, I mean, it's my fault. I was traveling. I couldn't make it. I couldn't change it. Whatever. So they can see me now in January. So hey, it's the world we live in today. So you know. Um, I also think it's smart to send reminders that the payment's going to be due or whatever. Or if you're putting the second coat on and you're going to come back the following day, just let them say tomorrow's our last day. Just a reminder. Here's the due on completion. Will be done tomorrow around 12. So just so you don't get there and that day go, oh, my husband's blah blah blah, or my wife's this that and the other. We
Yeah. Yeah.
just
Yeah.
just just a small reminder for that. You can also set up rewards, and we used to do this where if they pay the bill upon completion of the job, we gave you a Bona cleaning kit and also some coasters for your furniture. Didn't cost us much. We built it into the job.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's kind of a nice gift as well. Um, I think using more professional invoices also, I think that just makes you look good as a company. So I think that's a good idea to, you know, when I'm at Arby's and there's a napkin here. Uh,
It's on the back of my business card.
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
that's what you owe me. Yeah.
yes, yep.
We had kind of the opposite of a slow payer one time.
Okay.
There was a company that I don't know how we got involved with them, but they have a factory. It was 4 floors with about 300,000 feet of maple top nail flooring. And I probably told this story before.
That's an unusual floor, a maple top nail.
Top nail, four
Yeah.
inch top nailed, and we had to set every single nail
Wow.
and set it in maple.
Wow.
Yeah. Uh, so and so we got this call from the guy, and he's like, "Here's how we do it. We try to give you between 3 and 4,000 feet. You can start Friday afternoon, and everybody, you have to be done by Monday morning for the first shift on Monday morning." And this place ran 3 shifts, 7 days a week, but they could close something down. We were there on Friday,
Hmm.
but we had 3 coats of water base, done Monday morning, and setting all these nails.
Yeah.
So the guy's walking me through it, and I'm looking at this going, "Holy, this is, this
Holy,
is,
holy, holy what?
yeah." Like, wow. But I've said this before. Pete and I might not have been the world's greatest craftsmen, but we could work pretty good. When we were doing bowling alleys, I mean, we could work, we could go 24 hours. We really
Yeah.
could. I'm
Yeah.
not saying this exaggerating. We could, that was one thing that you couldn't outwork us. You
Hmm.
might you might make it look better than us, but you'll be sleeping and we're still going to be going.
Yeah.
So, we're kind of walking and the money was going to be fantastic and they were buying the finish. So I was like, "Oh, this is a lot of money. We're going to do really good here, right?" So I said, "How long does it get to pay?" And he goes, "We're slow payers." I was like, "Really?" He goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, they'll stretch you out every time to 90 days." And I was like, "All right, well, I got to talk to my partner, you
Hmm.
know." And God love Peter, I could talk him into anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "You know what, Pete? This is just gravy. This is just frosting on the cake.
90
Okay?
days will fly by.
We'll be working, doing our regular stuff, and then once a month we'll be, a few nights no sleep, but in 90 days
Yeah.
they're gonna start, pouring it on us."
Hmm.
And Pete's just, no, Pete's giving me the same thing you are. Yeah, okay, whatever. Right. I know he's not going to take no for an answer, so I might as well just shake my head, say,
Yeah.
"Yep, let's go for it."
Yeah.
So, boom, I talked Pete into it, and I'm like, "All right." But the other thing was, all right, we know it's 90 days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We know
Yeah.
it's 90
Yeah.
days, no surprises.
Yep.
And like I said, it's all going to be gravy.
Hmm.
So we get in Friday, finish Monday morning. I mean, we are bleary eyed. Just, we never went home. We were there for 3 days. And the guy comes in Monday morning, he's walking it, and he's like, "Man, this is fantastic." The guy, he couldn't have been happier. Right. And I'm like, "All right, beautiful.
Yeah.
Fantastic." And now I'm like, "All right." And he goes, "I think we'll have another one in about a month. I'll give you this section over here." And I was like, "All right,
Hmm.
perfect." Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, all right, 90 days, then we'll
Hmm.
start. No problem.
Hmm.
This is a Monday. He calls me on Wednesday.
Oh no.
"You want me to mail the check or do you want to come pick it up?"
Yeah.
I
No
said,
kidding.
"I'll be right over."
Yeah. Yeah.
He starts laughing. I am over there. I mean, 10 minutes after this call. He's
Oh
like, "Wow,
man.
I guess
What
you're."
a
I go, You told me 90 days. He said, "Listen," he said, "we've had 4 crews in here to try to do it, and none of them could do it." He
wow.
goes, "But you guys pulled it off." He goes, "I don't know how you did it." I go, "We're
Mhm.
bowling alley guys. We're different.
Mhm.
We can,
Yeah.
we're, this is how we roll."
Yeah.
Okay. And he goes, you guys made me look good." So he goes, "All I did was I have to get 5 signatures." And he goes, "I
Wow.
went to each person's office
No
and got
kidding.
that signature." Yeah, he said, "So you took care of me, so I'll take care of you."
Well, what a nice
You imagine that. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, as soon as you said, "Let's do a show on slow pay," I go, "Yeah, okay." I thought it was going to be slow pay, but
See, here's what you should have done with your partner Pete. You should have went to him and said, "Pete, would we take a 20% cut if they give it to us next week?" Uh,
yeah, but Pete had the edge.
yeah, Pete's
Pete,
gonna kill me when he ever does see me.
yeah.
When you said the other problem is fast payers, I thought you were going to say this, and this happened to us before, where the guy before the job started, The job was $10,000. I remember it to this day. I could drive to that house. It was $10,000. And before we even got the sander out of the van, and he squatted down on the stairs, took out $100 bills and counted out $10,000 in $100 bills and handed it to me. Now, that's incredible. First of all, it's cash. If you're listening to IRS, we give
The
it.
IRS doesn't listen to the
No,
show
no, no,
anymore.
no, no. But you know what? It wasn't a good thing. There's something about it just took away all my reason for showing up every day. You know what I mean? I I didn't like it as much as I thought I would. I mean, you know what I mean? I've been paid now.
You didn't
So
like $10,000 worth of cash.
it's
You
better than
see,
not getting paid.
You and Pete are a little alike.
Yeah,
Pete always loved having money owed.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's a
Pete,
carrot.
yeah, he loved that. He thought that was a good thing. I was like, no, I never thought it was a good thing, but I don't know. He thought it was like a savings account or something. I'll tell another quick one. Because when you said this, I was thinking of the ones we got burned on. Pete and I sanded this huge, huge house. It was about 4,000 foot. Huge, old house. And we're getting ready to do the final coat. And the guy says, "Hey, can you hold off a couple days on the final coat?" He goes, "I just want to do a bunch of painting." He goes, "I'll be really careful of the floors."
Hmm.
Yeah. And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, yeah. No problem, man. Don't worry about it." We go back after 3 days. The guy moved
Oh,
halfway across the country.
no kidding.
Didn't pay us a dime.
Ah,
He
yeah.
moved.
Wow.
Uh, I get there, and there's a guy like doing some stuff in the windows, and I'm like, it just does something doesn't look right, you know. And then as I'm walking, I go, "Hey, what's going on?" Where he goes, "Oh, they moved out 2 days ago." I go, "Oh, what? Are
Yeah.
you kidding me?"
That's brutal.
Moved out.
Oh, that's
He owed
brutal.
us a few grand,
Oh,
and and this was back when there was no internet. There was, you know what I mean?
people are awful, man.
Oh,
It's still money from a working man.
yeah. And he was a rich guy too. Yeah.
From a
He
working man in you.
he
I
was a
mean,
rich.
um, okay. The last thing I was going to say on this is we know all that everybody's had this customer where, hey, listen, if you do a great job on this one, I know this job sucks. If you do a great job and if you can just give us a really good price on this one, give us a discount on the next job, yeah, we're gonna really, give you a bunch of jobs down the road, blah blah blah. First of all, I hope no one ever falls for that. And secondly, if you do you really think they're going to accept a higher price now? Now that they know you'll do it for this price, you know what I mean? Now you do
Yeah.
this one for $3 a foot, but next one you'll do for 375 a foot. Do you really think they're going to say, okay, 375 a foot's cool now? It doesn't work
Yeah.
like that. They know
We
you'll
just
do it
wanted
for
to test
three.
the waters with you. Now we'll pay you
Yeah,
real
yeah,
money.
yes. And the last thing is sometimes your biggest customers like that are not your most profitable customers. If you're having to make a lot of concessions for different customers, like you said, you can pay us later, 90 days later, or we'll do this for free, or we'll discount this, and we'll throw in this because they're big, big customers. At the end of the day, sometimes those are not your best customers, not your most profitable customers. So when you sit down and look at those, sometimes that's not maybe the direction that is best for your company, or at least analyze that and realize that okay, we got to make a change. We can't treat these guys so special because blah blah blah. So all right. And I think the most important thing, we also talk about, everybody has a radar detector. I called mine a different name, detector, about customers. And there's red flags that go up, man. You gotta kind of don't fool me once, that's on you. But you fool me twice, it's now starting to be on me. So kind of read the red flags about your customers, and a contract is a must. As one lady told me, I wish I could remember her name. Handshakes are great for introductions, but after that, I want a contract. And no truer words were ever spoken. I don't care how good you think you are, because it's not about you, it's about them. And also, what you're not going to do in the contract sometimes is just as important as what you are going to do in the contract. Taking pictures of jobs or of things on the job that are broken before you get there, before you start the job, and document those type of things. All these type of things help you stay out of trouble and keep that
And
ship
it's
running
so
smooth.
easy to do that kind of stuff now.
Way, way easier than ever.
I mean, I don't know how many times we did kitchens and hey, you scratched this. And I'm like, no, that scratch was there. But you didn't have cell phones. You know what I mean? And especially back in the day, you had that thing you would hold with the gunpowder and the big poof and
Yes, of course. Yes,
it
yes.
was tough to
Hmm.
use those type of cameras.
Yeah,
You,
they didn't come
you know
out
what
as
I
good.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But now it's so easy to document stuff and take pictures of stuff. And sad thing is you have to though, because
Yeah.
there's just
I bet other people have been here. Like, and I remember a kitchen that along the cabinets had like a scuff along the cabinet. Okay. So, all right, whatever we'd say in the cabinet, everything we think we're on a great mood, everything's happy, whatever. And then you get blamed for that scuff. So it must have been the edger, right? So you bring out the edger, like, look, no part of this edger hits that. That's that, and it was there. And now you have to
right.
defend yourself. Now you
Yeah.
have to go, look,
Well,
here's the
they were
edger.
never looking down because
Yeah,
they never looked at their red
yeah,
door. Now we're
yeah,
in there and everything's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
And now they're seeing stuff that yeah.
Plus,
You
I
know another
made,
thing? You know what Bum does? Bum will Google customers.
wow,
He'll search them out and just find out as
yeah,
much information. And if you think about it,
hmm,
it's not that hard to do things like
yeah,
that anymore.
no, yeah.
Between Facebook and LinkedIn and things like that. Yeah, he kind of knows the people he's working for.
You know something? Yesterday, I Googled my old address in California, okay, where we lived. Just Google the address. My name came up, Judy's name came up, her occupation came up, both our phone numbers came up.
Wow.
That's scary. And then the house went up by $300,000, which that hurt a little bit too. Uh, what we sold it for. And I said, Judy, we got to move. It's never going to be worth any more than this. We got to take the money and run. This is insane. It's worth this much money. Well, it went up about $300,000 more. So anyhow, all right. So that's it. I just thought that would be slow paying customers. I think would be a good topic for what it does through your businesses and what have you. So
Hey, for the people listening, send us in a couple of war stories.
yeah,
Sometimes you got to
yeah,
get them off your chest.
yeah. If you give us a good one, we'll read it. All right. All right, there you go. So thank you for listening. Listen to our listeners. We really appreciate it around the world and around the globe. I know it's translated into about 17 different languages, so I hope that the translations, work out. And other than that, thanks for listening. It's been another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. Please stay tuned for another episode.